going to talk about critical incidents in ELT, initial teacher training. It is from Thomas Farrell. Firstly, I'd like to talk about what is critical incident. Critical incidents are any unplanned things, any unplanned events occurring in our classes, in the lessons, during the class. And when a critical incident occurs, it interrupts the taken for granted ways of thinking about teaching. So it can interrupt your teaching, it can interrupt your class. If a trainee teacher formally reflects on critical incidents, it may be possible for them to uncover new understandings of the teaching and learning process. What does that mean? If you are reflecting on these critical incidents, and if a trainee teacher is reflecting on these incidents, it may be a way for them to see their future in terms of new understandings in teaching and learning process. And what does reflective practice help? How does it help to us? It helps trainee teachers to think about what happened, why it happened, and what else could have been done to reach their goals. So if you are reflecting, also we are reflecting in our classes too, in Kenan Hoca's classes, in Ali Hoca's classes. So it's giving us information about what we are doing or why we are doing it, and it can reflect on our goals in teaching and learning process. And there are some ways that we can use for training teachers to encourage them on reflective teaching. You can have them analyze critical incidents that occur while they are teaching. And in this study, it also gives some critical incidents that we are going to talk about. And by their reflections, by trainee teachers' reflections, we will see their critical incidents. By reflecting on critical incidents in a formal manner, language teachers can uncover new understanding of taken for granted perceptions of the teaching and learning process, as we said before. So it can consist of two different ways. And the first one of which is a description production phase. And we say it's production because as a result of it, the incident is produced. It is a specific phenomenon which is observed and documented by the trainee teachers. And in the explanation phase, the incident is explained by the teacher in terms of symbols, value, or role. So we can say that at first you are describing and then you are producing, and then you are giving some explanations about it in the explanation phase. Let's go on with our study. It's a kind of case study. It took place in Singapore, and there were 18 trainee teachers in the case study. So English is medium instruction in the school. And for the vast majority of Singaporeans, English is not a mother tongue, but only one language in the typical speaker's multilingual repertoire. And so we are having 18 Singaporean trainee teachers. So we can say that English is medium, but some of the students are not using English at their homes, and also some of them are coming from different cultures, different countries. So that doesn't mean that they also have English and in their daily lives. 18 Singaporean trainee teachers enrolled in a one-year postgraduate diploma. Yeah, they are going to have an education, and then they are going to be certified as English language teachers. All of them used their English as mother tongues. As part of their theory classes, these trainees had 90-minute lessons. It's a set of 6 lessons, and they are giving lessons, they are teaching at secondary schools in groups of 3. The trainees were required to keep a journal, and in the case study they were wanted is to describe and reflect on at least 2 critical incidents happened during their teaching. So they took a journal and they wrote 2 critical incidents, and we can say that it's a kind of limitation. Maybe it's not so good to have just 2 critical incidents. Maybe they had just one or they had more than 2. But actually in the study they put a limitation in 2. When we look at the critical incidents coming from those 18 trainee teachers, there were totally 36 critical incidents, and these incidents were basically about language proficiency, class participation, and 6 of them were coming from behavior problems and gender, classroom space, and 3 of them were about lesson objectives, these incidents, and 1 from classroom activities, 1 from attention spans, and 1 from additional class assistance, which makes totally 36 critical incidents coming from those trainee teachers. The researchers took the trainee teachers' journals and got the information from them in terms of their permissions. He took the data written in their journals for this report. And the categories were based on possible teaching points the trainees presented, but some incidents were, we can say, caused a kind of mix because they, at first, the writer tried to took the journal and clarified the trainee, by the trainee, which group it is in. And when we look at all of these incidents, the first one that we are going to talk about is language proficiency, and then we are going to go on with all of them one by one. 8 trainees reported incidents about language proficiency, and we see 2 different examples in here. One of them is Alice's example, and the other one is about Sarah's student, Wei Yong. In Alice's class, there was a student called Hao Tong, and he was from China, and he was always using English dictionaries, and he wasn't participating in the classes. Once in their class, he saw, in writing class, he saw his student that he was using a kind of English-Chinese electronic dictionary. So he wondered about it, and firstly he didn't want to, he regarded at first, he didn't want to talk about it, and he let him use. But later he understood that the student, Hao Tong, was also not participating in the other lesson activities too. So he wanted to talk to him, and then he learned that he was from China and his English was not so good. And that's why he didn't understand the instructions and he didn't want to make those activities. And in Sarah's class, there was another student called Wei Yong. In here, she saw her student that he wasn't using English to express his opinions, and he wasn't expressing ideas in English, turning back to his or her own language, the first language, and avoiding speaking in English, or when the teacher asks something, tries to answer in another language, or mumbles, or just laughs. And then, after talking the other students, she understood that this